Hello and welcome to Conscious TV and to the 7th program on important books in the life of my guests. My name is Eleonora Gilbert and today I have with me in the studio Marlies Cocheret. Hi Marlies.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me today. And just to give a brief introduction about Marlies. Marlies is a spiritual teacher. She is a psychologist, a Hakomi therapist, a tantric educator, and specifically on sacred spirituality. And just before we started, you also mentioned to me that you have a particular kind of passion. I would like you to talk to us about what that passion is.
Okay. Well, it kind of grew over the years, besides my passion for the silence, because that's my number one. My number one love is the passion for really helping women, also men, but helping women to really come into themselves, into their bodies. So truly learn to abide as their true nature in the body and live as that in the world. And kind of learning, hopefully, to make love with all of life. Yeah. You know, make love with a partner, but also make love with your water and with everything.
Yeah.
And so it's not only women, but for some reason it's very much happening amongst women that come to me and I meet them. So it's really opening the hearts and resting as that love and moving as that love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting that we'll be looking at your books in a second, but prior to meeting, you know, we had a few exchange of emails, and you said something that, again, I thought was very pertinent in terms of your choice of books as well, is that all of my teachers, and I'm quoting you, okay, from your email, all my teachers have been male, and all the books that deeply touch me are written by females.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just...
Yeah, I realized the moment you had asked me to give you some books.
Yes.
And these were the books. Then I realized that. That was a very interesting experience.
So we're going to be looking at the Chasm of Fire, which is written by Irina Tweedie, and she's no longer with us. Then we're going to be talking about Caving the Snow by Vicki MacKenzie, and it's all about the life of Tenzin Palmo. And that's, again, a really very sweet little book. Passionate Enlightenment by Miranda Shaw. I'm really curious to know what you're going to say about this book. Then Totality in Essence by Vimala Thakar. Again, she's no longer with us, but what an amazing woman, extraordinary woman. And lastly, hopefully we'll be able to fit them all in, What is Self by Bernadette Roberts. Again, another little gem. So in terms of your spiritual development, if we start with Chasm of Fire, why did you choose this book?
I can't remember. Oh, for now, why I choose it? I was thinking why I choose it then, but why I choose it now? Because I was so on fire myself.
Yes.
So when I read her book, I just could relate so much what she wrote, and even touches me in the moment. Is just that being so utterly devoted to the teacher, but really to the truth.
Yes.
And no matter what happens, you just persevere and you keep going to, no matter how hard or easy or wonderful or terrible or horrible it is, just keep going, because I know I'm not done yet. And that deeply, deeply moved me, how she I think she was married, and then her husband died, and in 1954,
1954, she moved to India.
To India to be with her guru.
Yeah.
And I was an incredibly devotional relationship. And then in that time, I was with Osho, and I felt very much devotion to him. It was, you know, I didn't have a personal relationship with him, but there was that fire inside me was very clear. Yes. I was kind of going for enlightenment, no matter what it took. I didn't care. And that's what I felt was the deep relationship when I read this book. And I remember reading this book and kind of walking around in my home, not going anywhere. I could feel her passion. And basically there was really no choice in the matter. And that's what I felt inside.
Right.
And that's really what touched me, and that's why I choose the book.
Yeah, I think it's quite key when you say there was no choice in the matter, because that really does come across, because no sane individual will actually do what she's, what she's put herself through. And also with the next book that we're going to be exploring, so like really she had no choice. Yeah.
And that was also my own prayer then, is like, I want the truth, I want enlightenment.
Yes.
I don't even know what it is, but that's what I want, and just whatever needs to happen for that or not, that's what I want. And whatever it takes, I don't really care, that's what I want. And so that was the relationship.
Right.
And I guess when I look back, I was a female, so I could relate to it.
Yes.
I didn't really particularly think about that then. It's more now that I think, well, that probably played a role.
Yeah.
And
And so your next choice of books, Cave in the Snow.
Yeah.
Again, this is such a lovely story.
Yeah.
Do you want to say,
Yeah.
you know, your experience and again, you know, why and when in your life did it actually come in?
Okay.
Yes.
So Irina was really in my 20s.
Yes.
Jitsuma Tenzin Palma is now her name. Jitsuma is like honorable teacher.
Yes.
She came in my life, I think about 10 years ago.
Oh, right, so quite recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I met her a few times, and I kind of had the same feeling as when I read Irina Tweedie. Yeah, Jitsuma Tenzin Palma is my favorite nun. She's my favorite all time. And she's actually from London originally.
Yes, she is, yes.
And I just love her clarity, her no-nonsense, her humor, her, really no-nonsense, no bullshit, and just big-heartedness.
Yeah.
Very like, and 12 years in the snow, or Cave in the Snow, she was for 12 years there. I think when I was reading that, I was in my own cave.
Right.
It was because...
I mean, symbolically or actually literally?
Well, literally. I mean, my home felt like my cave.
Right.
Because I had separated from my husband, and I started living by myself. What I had done earlier in my life, but I gotten quite sick also. And so I was just home most of the time alone. And, you know, I had people that want to take care of me, but I just, at some point, just even asked permission of some of my friends, are you really okay that I am alone?
Yes.
And they would just check on me, because I just had this utter need to be alone and meditate and do whatever I needed to do. And so reading her book, I could relate to her happiness in being in the cave, because she still talks about that's her happiest time in her life.
Really?
And partly I can relate to that.
Right.
But it was again another woman truly going in for the truth of her being, and doing whatever practices or whatever it takes to fully rest and abide as that love that we all are. Yeah.
And, you know, when you read this kind of book and realize, you know, she spent 12 years in the Himalayas, I mean, the cold. The size of the cave. I mean, I just thought, God, there's so much to be admired about that dedication and that steadfastness. And unmovability of, you know, determination. And 3 years of these 12 years is in total silence. I just thought, well, I was really speechless and in great admiration.
And I can also relate to, because she talks about, you know, really she didn't want to leave. And
that she had to.
You come in a point of time, you're in your cave or in your love with God or goddess or whatever you want to call it, with emptiness. And it's so wonderful. You don't really want to go anywhere. And then life, you know, spits you out. You need to go back to the marketplace.
Again, she didn't have a choice, did she, in that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I love her.
Yeah, I love her too, really. And, passionate enlightenment. Wow. Tell me about this.
Well, there are some songs in the book that are written, and what I like on the passionate enlightenment is the equality between males and females, and the all-inclusiveness of the males and females. And Miranda Shaw, I find she did a lot of research. She was early on in her life very intrigued by all the images and whatever, and she really started researching and really made it her own. And that's what I like about it. But especially the songs of women about enlightenment. And I know inside me, I know enlightenment is possible. You know, if you see it as something at point in time, male or female, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Anybody. And I feel in the songs of these ancient songs from Tibetan Buddhism, from Kashmiran Shivaism, Hinduism, Tantric Hinduism, and they're all this mix. And those songs are so pure. And so it's passionate enlightenment, you know, how you can share that with a concert with another. But to me, it's also the passionate enlightenment as a female and how that's being sang and experienced and lived. Because a lot of these were women from all walks of life, you know, where it was the different castes, you know, within the tantric scene, the caste, everything, all those kind of rules were broken. So there were the women in the marketplace that went with high schoolers, and they were brought together. And I love those kind of stories because it brings all of life together as one. There's not this silly separation.
Yeah.
So, but mostly the songs, the passionate songs of females that are sang, the songs of enlightenment. That's what really touches
Do
me.
you sing them as well? Do you actually use them perhaps even in your work, or?
You know, actually sometimes I read them
Yes.
and I'm touched by them, but perhaps a good idea to actually sing them. I actually brought it, I forgot it, but I have one, I don't really write a lot, but I have this one poem that I feel very passionate about.
Yes.
And it has that same quality for me. And but I can just feel it in my bones. That's how it is. And it feels like of all times, it's not just from then.
Yes.
It's a remembrance, it's a knowing right now.
Yes.
And it's like wanting to live that. Because it's nice to wake up to a true nature, is really wonderful. But even in Zen, you know, we speak at step number 3 of the 10 steps to enlightenment. And to me, I just want to live to the fullest that I can. That's really passionate enlightenment.
Yeah. If I were to give you the book, do you think you might be able to find one of these songs? Because I think they're yeah. If I remember correctly, they're towards the middle of the book.
Well, I can also just read a piece of, you know, around how companionship is not really based on ordinary attachment. So this is just wonderful to read about the yogin and yoginis coming together. This yogini's action is peerless. She consumes the householder, and enlightened spontaneity shines forth. Now that's a big thing. It's an enlightened natural activity, natural spontaneity. That I love that too. Anyway, beyond passion and absence of passion, seated beside her own, her mind destroyed, thus I have seen the yogini. One eats and drinks and thinks what occurs to thought. It is beyond the mind and inconceivable, this wonder of the yogini. Here, sun and moon lose their distinction. In her, the triple world is formed, perfecter of thought and unity of enlightened spontaneity. Oh, no, this yogini. So I just feel, you can feel just the enlightenment in this song, this text. You know, I wouldn't even, you can call it a song, but you can feel it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. And is there anything else in terms of your life, where you were in life when you came across this book? Where were you?
Let me think.
In terms of your spiritual development, your spiritual unfoldment.
Well, I was very much also, the Enlightenment thing, that's one big theme.
Yes.
But also how to bring that in relationship. And true as consort, you know.
Yes.
A male and a female. It can be 2 males or 2 females, whatever. But for me, it's a male and a female. And to truly live that as equals. And so for me, it was very much a bringing together of abiding as the silence of a being and bringing that as in the making love. And to really not have the regular so-called making love, or mostly people call it having sex, in the magazine. I'm really talking about the truth of making love.
Yes.
That the silence moves. It's enlightened activity. It's enlightened, spontaneous movement that you don't really read about. And I knew that from within, from early on, and I just never understood why nobody talked about it. I didn't call it enlightened activity.
Yes.
I just knew, you know, especially as a female, biologically, it takes a while to open this flower and for this to move.
Yes.
And of course, a male body works very different. But I feel so much passion for this natural movement to bring that to old life also with another. So that was, you know, I would say all my life. When I read this book, I think it was also, I can't remember, 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. And the next one is Totality in Essence by Vimala Thakar.
Yeah.
And again, tell me about this.
Now, Vimala Thakar, she is very much about social change.
Yes, that's what I loved about her. She's gutsy, this woman, really.
And she wanted from early on, you know, basically wanted to be a rake. And she grew up in India. She was not allowed to go the knowledgeable path, only the bhakti as a woman, you know, the heart. And she had like, you know, fuck it, I just do what I need to do. And really, she has so much clarity.
Yes.
And when I started reading her books, I just really was touched mostly by her femininity and her utter sharp knife.
Yes.
Masculinity, kind of balanced. And also, when you read her books, she talks about the teacher or the speaker. She never talks about herself. She only talks about the teacher. And mostly when people would talk that way or write that way, I think, gee, you know, do normal. But with her, I never had it as like, I get it.
Yes.
The speaker, you know, it's totally not personal or whatever, but and I'm very touched by her perseverance.
Yes.
And that's what I'm touched with all of them, you know. And that's what's in me, obviously, because that's being mirrored.
Yeah.
And she also, they all were standing alone so much, each in their own tradition. And she was influenced by Krishnamurti and asked to teach.
Yes.
Yeah. And I wanted to go and visit her, but then she just passed away.
Yeah.
And I actually did it. But I can feel through her words and her bringing her abiding in the world, in social change. Very powerful.
There is something that I want to share with you that I found that I'm going to read. Again, about combining spirituality and social action, which she was absolutely... I mean, I've only read one book, but clearly she's extraordinary. Sadly, she's dead now, but anyway, she wrote, in this era, to become a spiritual inquirer without social consciousness is a luxury that we can ill afford. And to be a social activist without a scientific understanding of the inner workings of the mind is the worst folly. Neither approach in isolation has had any significant success. There is no question now that an inquirer will have to make an effort to be socially conscious, or that an activist will have to be persuaded of the moral crisis in the human psyche. the significance of being attentive to the inner life. The challenge awaiting us is to go much deeper as human beings, to abandon superficial prejudices and preferences, to expand understanding to a global scale, integrating the totality of living, and to become aware of the wholeness of which we are a manifestation. Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah,
I just thought, gosh.
Says it all, really.
It says it all,
Yeah.
you know, especially now, even,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, anyway. And the next one is What is Self by Bernadette Roberts.
Yeah.
Again, a gem of a book.
Right. Very dense book.
Very dense.
I mean, every sentence that Bernadette, I don't know how she does it, but every sentence she writes, I mean, I can contemplate a week on it. You know, that this book, What is Self, or The Experience of No Self, I've been rereading it, I don't know how many times, because I don't read it from front to back.
Yeah.
It's just I open somewhere and then read, and it's just digesting dense food. And also, she's from the Christian tradition, and I'm not very familiar with that.
Yes.
So she has a certain way of wording, but very clear. Well, they're all very clear. Can feel the depth of when she writes, or in, how do you say that, in her writing, her depth, and how it comes from her own experience.
Yes.
Totally owns it. And I think that's what touches me with all these women.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can be one day like that, to completely own the truth here and live that here, because then it's alive.
Yeah.
Because of one, as you know, there are 5 superly different women, very different expressions.
Yes.
But all those expressions were very needed.
Yeah.
As all our expressions are very needed, but we need to own the truth of our being first, before this can fully express herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find her quite academic in her approach. Yes, and what I loved about her is the fact that she does talk about within the wrapper, let's call it, of Christianity.
Yeah.
So if we look at your selection of books, we've gone from Christianity to Hinduism to Tibetan Buddhism to Tantra Buddhism to Sufi.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's just been lovely to have the opportunity of actually experiencing. You know, this particular kind of expression. So anything else that you'd like to add? We're running out of time. So, and I'm glad that we managed to do the 5 books. So normally I managed to just do 4. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I'm just so grateful these women wrote these books.
Yes. Yes.
And I think for women, these times, to really deeply know that it's for every female form, it's possible to wake up to your true nature, and every female form, it's possible enlightenment may happen, or it's not really happening, an ising, or whatever you want to call it. It's possible for all of us, whatever tradition you come from. It's not about the tradition. It's really about fully stepping in the unknown and just going for it, going for it. And I'm going for it that way. And I'm just deeply touched.
Wonderful.
Because I feel a lot of resonance.
Well, I am deeply touched by his writings, and they're so diverse, and that's what I really welcome that. I've learned a lot.
Good.
So I'll just quickly go through them again. So we have The Chasm of Fire by Irina Tweedie.
She's from London too.
Yes, but she's dead sadly as well.
She's dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Caving the Snow by Vicki MacKenzie, and then we have Passionate Enlightenment by Miranda Shaw, Totality in Essence by Vimala Thakar, and lastly but not leastly, What is Self by Bernadette Roberts. Thank you very much for joining me today. That's really been wonderful. Thank you. And thank you very much for watching Conscious TV, and hopefully we'll see you again very soon. Thank you. Goodbye.